former CIA official, revealing in sworn testimony that Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, then a senior Biden campaign advisor just a few weeks before the election, led the effort to release that letter signed by 51 former intel officials. Republican leaders in the House sending a letter to Secretary Blinken demanding documents and communications stating this: it is apparent that the Biden campaign played an active role in the origins of the public statement, which had the effect of helping to suppress the Hunter Biden story and preventing American citizens from making a fully informed decision during the 2020 presidential election.
So all this coming as an IRS whistleblower is claiming political interference in the Hunter Biden tax investigation. Senator Tom Cotton saying sooner or later the truth will come out about Hunter and the family business.
Very troubling reports that the IRS and the FBI have been thwarted from investigating Hunter Biden's dealings, which, as you say, are not about Hunter Biden, a very troubled but private citizen. The truth is going to come out. I think that's why you're starting to see whistleblowers come out.
Joining us now, Republican South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace. She sits on the House Oversight Committee. And I think that this, one of the things that, at least if you watch The Five and Gutfeld and I have been saying for so long, is that who pushed the 51 former intel officers who are retired but still seek relevance, who pushed them to do that? Now we're closer to knowing why.
Secretary Blinken, right? And here the left has been saying for years, disinformation from the right, yet they had been leading a disinformation campaign in election season, on and off the election season. And this is proof. And last Monday, several of us from the Oversight Committee went over to the Department of Treasury to look at 170 suspicious activity reports. This is real. This is not conspiracy theory kind of stuff. I've seen it with my own eyes, the allegations of shell companies, prostitution rings. Every time we look under the rock, there's a dumpster fire, and there are more Biden family members involved than we ever thought possible. The amount of money that we're talking about is astronomical. And for years, the left has said, well, no one is above the law except for our president and his family, I guess, because it's not being investigated to the fullest extent of the law, and it should be. The American people have a right to know.
So there are two stories really running parallel this week. One is the laptop story. We'll see where that goes with these intel officials, and the other is what you're talking about here in this IRS whistleblower. The attorney for that whistleblower was talking with Brett last night on Special Report.
My client wants to come forward. He's not a political person. He's not a social media person. He's not coming here with a political agenda.
He's been at the IRS for a long time.
He's been at the IRS for more than 10 years, and now he's a supervisory special agent. My client's a career law enforcement officer who is respected within the IRS, and he teaches other agents how to properly do investigations.
So he's been at the IRS for 10 years. We know that now. And apparently he decided he could not live with himself by keeping this information private. If he goes public, that's going to be a hearing to watch.
Right, and I believe it too. This whistleblower is putting everything on the line to provide the American people with this information. It should be investigated to the fullest extent of the law. When the left says that no one is above the law, the American people deserve the right to have them put their money where their mouth is, whether it's a current or former president or their family. This should be investigated, and we need more information. We only looked at the SARS reports for 2 Biden family members. Well, there are several more Biden family members that are
involved. When you were
involved.
at the Treasury, you only looked at 2?
It's more than, and then we found more Biden family members involved, more shell companies, the sources of the funds being unknown, where they're going unknown, and why they were paid for. And the numbers are astronomical.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy. And yet, I'm very much a centrist. I'm right of center, left of center, depending on the issue. And I've seen this with my own eyes. It's not a conspiracy theory. This is real.
Is it possible that they were just playing the Washington game?
It is.
And Hunter Biden was just really good at it? And there was nothing illegal?
There are several allegations of illegal activities, and when you look at the suspicious activity reports, it's rare for a company to get one in its lifetime. We're talking about over 170 reports on only 2 members of the Biden family, and yet when we look at those reports, there are several members of the Biden family of all ages that are involved in this scheme. Is it pay to play? You look at the records from the White House and over 80 visits when Biden was vice president from these companies and colleagues of Hunter Biden. It's very suspicious and should be investigated. DOJ should be looking into this right now.
We don't have enough time to talk about the very complicated, complex, thorny very interesting and important topic of abortion. But USA Today has an op-ed today, an editorial that basically says that the Republican Party needs to listen to you, that if the GOP doesn't listen to Nancy Mace on abortion, the party can count on losing big in 2024. Bill just did this great interview with 3 Republican members of Congress from Florida. They've all decided to support Trump. But one of the issues that I think the Republicans writ large aren't talking enough about, you talked about it. I know you were asked by Shannon Bream. Do you think that Republicans are getting closer to being able to adhere to the principle of being pro-life, but also figure out a way to address what America says it wants, which is more flexibility?
We're not there yet, which is one of the reasons I've been so outspoken on this issue. Now, I was encouraged this week to see our leadership in Congress say that they're going to avoid doing a national abortion ban. That's not where the country is right now. And everyone knows Donald Trump and I have had our differences, but even he this week has talked about this issue and being a vocal voice on this to show that you can be pro-life and be pro-women. The two are not mutually exclusive. We need to be talking about birth control, adoption services, foster care for unwanted children, getting nurses into rural areas for OBGYN care, midwives. There are all these things we can do for women, be pro-women and be pro-life at the same time. And that's a winning message. That's winning policy. And we can win the popular vote with that.
Wish we had more time.
Yeah, come
Nancy
back.
Mace, thank you.
Thank you.
Coming on
Great
today.
to see you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.